Hey guys, so I wanted to make a quick video. I wanted to talk about as you're ascending. Okay, so a lot of people think that when you're going through an ascension, that you're going through it, you're gonna go through an awakening one time only. That's not the case. When you're on your spiritual journey, you're gonna go through multiple ascensions, multiple awakenings. And that's because as you start learning lessons and applying them to your everyday life, you start raising your vibrations higher. You start raising your frequency. Okay. Um, there's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of shadow work that needs to be done, a lot of healing, a lot of things that we thought that, it was never an issue with us, or we never seen it as an issue. And it surfaces. It surfaces, as we're older, as an adult right now. Um, and a lot of us, like, we sit there and we're like, I never even realized that that was a problem with, like, a issue with me, or I never realized, I never looked at it that way. Um, and that's because, we've buried those things, certain things so far deep in our subconscious that we forget about those things. Also, you know, as you get older, you have the influence of society, of traditions, um, outdated belief systems, upbringings, of what you should, what is right and what is not right. Um, and when you're going through a spiritual awakening, you start realizing that you start shedding that old belief system, that outdated tradition. You start shedding a lot of the things you thought was the right way to do things, and then you realize it wasn't the right way to do things. Um, you start losing the old you so that the new you, the true you, the authentic you, the person that you were meant to be, okay, um, can surface. Um, so you're gonna go through multiple ascensions, multiple awakenings, multiple purifications, multiple, hermit modes. And the more you awaken and ascend higher to a higher conscience and a higher frequency, and you start raising your vibrations more higher, um, you're going to notice that your spiritual gifts start awakening. They start heightening in different ways. So I noticed that in the tarot community, the spiritual community, there's been a lot of talk about, masculines um, finally waking up to see that, the person that they chose was a karmic versus their true divine counterpart. And some of them are in disbelief, and some of them have to, some of them unfortunately are stuck having to repeat a karmic cycle because they took too long to realize what they were doing. Um, some of them, are pressed for time to try to figure out what to do. Um, and there's a lot of confusion. There's not a, I don't, I hear a lot. So for me, when I started ascending, my first ascension, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what that meant. What the hell? Ascend to a higher conscience? Am I not awake? What are they talking about? I had to realize that not only I had to research. I became a student of this. I didn't allow just one person or one thing to for me to believe, for me to follow. I had to find out truth within self and what was aligned with me. And the way I did that was through my spirit guides. And it sounds crazy. I get it, guys. When I first started, when I first started my spiritual journey, you know, somebody telling me, go speak to your spirit guides. I was like, what are they talking about? I questioned so much. Like, how do you speak to them? I don't know how to speak to them. What are their names? How do they look? How do I know where they're at? And then I had to start realizing, wait a minute, they're around me. Who cares right now at this point what their names are, how they look, and where they're at? I know they're around me. You're telling me they're around me. I have to believe that, because then what happened for me was I started feeling their presence in the room. Whenever I would think of them or have questions, I would automatically look at, I'm not lying, you heard that train? I would feel their presence in the room. It would be like me being crowded around a whole bunch of angels that were just hugging me and consoling me and letting me know that they were there. They would put their hands right here, but like behind me, like to calm down, breathe, we're here. Ask us whatever questions you want to ask us. We're here to guide you. Your ancestors of the highest white light, they're there to guide you. I always call on my ancestors of the light, because you have ancestors of the dark. So you want to be careful on which ones you're calling on, okay? Because not all of them are of the light, okay? So I started communicating with them more. I started, conversating with them more, asking them questions. I started, and then the questions I would ask, I would notice that, a channel would be on my suggestions, right? On my YouTube suggestions. Like, there would be like a channel I would never even search for, and it would be like recommendation or a suggestion here for you. And I'd be like, what is this? But then I started thinking, why would this pop up here? Let me click on this. Something would tell me to click on it. That's your intuition talking to you. That's the way your spirit guides will communicate with you. Click on that. There's a message in there for you. There would be like, so I want to talk about, what I want to talk about is doing the work, the healing process. When you finally come to terms that something has to change, this cannot be. There's going to be things that you're going to be faced with. There's going to be obstacles, tests. You're going to be tested by the divine to see if your commitment is true. Okay, you'll never know when those tests are coming, but that's why it's important that you stay true to your path. You stay true to yourself. You're authentic. You're not allowing outside influences to cloud your judgment. You're not allowing your ego to influence your intuition. A lot of us have been operating in our ego our whole life. That's what we know. We don't know how to shut that shit the fuck off and actually get quiet within, around ourselves, and listen to that little voice, that intuition. Your intuition will never misguide you. Ever. Never. Okay? You want to always ask yourself, does this align with me? When you start ascending, before you make decisions, start asking yourself, does this align with me? How would I feel if somebody was to do this to me? Would I like somebody doing this to me? What I'm doing, my next move, will this next move hurt anyone in any malicious way? Am I doing this out of the kindness of myself? Or am I doing this out of expecting something in return? Okay. So there's a lot that you go through, especially when you're doing the shadow work, guys. The shadow work is you going down to the deepest, darkest pits of your subconscious, and you're actually facing those demons that you've been afraid to face for so long. You know, for me, one of them was, me being raped. I've never spoken to none of my family members about that. 39 years old, nobody knew that. So I buried that inside, and I just kept living my life. I felt like I didn't have time to heal at that time. Like there was no time, there was never a time for me to properly acknowledge what I just went through, what I went through, how it affected me, how it affected the person I had become, trusting others, to the point where I would get so nervous being around, like if I were to like go towards a store and there was a group of guys there, I never liked to do that. I never liked walking in between like a group of guys because I felt them looking at me, undressing me. I never realized how me not healing properly created triggers for me as an adult. And it followed me, but in different ways. And those are the shadow works you want to do. You want to be able to face those things, acknowledge them. Some of these things are painful stuff that we never healed from. And it's sad because when you're living in a world where everything is like, you don't who has the time to properly heal? And not who, but like single parent me with 4 kids, you know what I mean, having to work 2 or 3 jobs, being a full-time a full-time college student. There was no time for me. I forgot about me. I forgot about myself. And when you start going through your ascension, your first awakening, God wants you to choose yourself, put yourself first. It's not being selfish. A lot of people be like, oh, that sounds real selfish. No. You've been putting yourself, your needs, your feelings, your happiness in the back burner for so many fucking years for everybody else, to make everybody else happy. You need to learn how to set healthy boundaries, what you will and will not accept anymore. There has to be some kind of form of healthy boundaries, okay, that we've never put on ourselves before we get through our spiritual awakening. Like, I had to learn how to place boundaries. I didn't have boundaries. I let my last relationship dog me the fuck out. There was a lot of shit that was hidden behind the scene I had no idea about. And it was because I didn't have boundaries set. I just kept working at the relationship thinking, the more I work at it, maybe he will appreciate me, value me. But no, it didn't work out that way. There was no healthy boundaries. And I lost myself. So when you're awakening, God wants you to choose yourself. Don't betray yourself the way others have betrayed you. You need to learn how to start choosing you, setting healthy boundaries, what you will and will not accept anymore. Start identifying what triggers you. Why? Where did that trigger come from? Where did that trigger initially start as a child? Start going all the way back. What caused you to have a trigger like that? And for me, like I said, as I got older, I noticed that I didn't like going into stores that had groups of guys hanging around. I never liked to walk in any place. If I would be walking, down the block to the store and there would be like a group of guys, I would cross the street. I didn't like it. And that was because, and I didn't know why I didn't like it. But as I started doing the shadow work, I identified where it came from. It was because I was raped. I was raped. $15.15. God wants you to release, clear, cancel, and delete anything that no longer serves your highest purpose. Whether it's a toxic relationship, codependency, toxic behaviors, outdated belief systems. A lot of us think, because we have kids with people, we have to make it work with that person. But we're fucking miserable with that person. We done walked out on that person. That person has walked out on us and we're still trying to fix it. No. What you're doing is unjustifiable. It does not, especially if you have kids, man. Like, trying to stick in a relationship where mom and dad fight or step out on each other or drink or do crazy shit, that kid is gonna pick up on that. A lot of parents, and this was me too, I used to be like, well, my kids don't see I never argue in the house or whatever, so they don't know. That's a fucking lie. Kids are the most intuitive little beings, spiritual beings here on earth. They pick up on those energies. Think about it like this. When you have like a 2-month-old in your hands and you done just got into an argument with your boyfriend and now you're carrying that baby, right? And that baby's like, why do you think they're picking that up? It's your energy. It's your energy. Kids absorb that shit. They see that. They sense it. They know when there's something wrong with mom and dad. And then all you do is let your kid think that it's okay to not choose you when other people betray them. No. Your ancestors want you to break those generational curses that were plagued, that was conformed onto us. That is society. That's outdated belief system. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You want to choose better for yourself. You want better for yourself. You want to be happy. You want to find peace. And being in a relationship that's not peaceful and that's toxic as hell, that's not what your ancestors want for you. Because your mother did it, your grandmother did it, your grandmother. Break those fucking generational curses and start choosing yourself for once. That's what your ancestors want you to do. When you're going through your ascensions and you're ascending higher, right? Spirit guys are like, she on point right now. When you're breaking those things, you're not only breaking those generational curses here on the 3D, right? You're breaking them, your ancestors in the spirit realm. You're breaking those shackles, those chains. You're breaking them out of bondage. You ascending. There's reward for being obedient as you're ascending, going through your spiritual awakening. And God rewards you. Your ancestors reward you. Like, I cannot lie to you about this. Like, telling me this before, I'd have been like, what the fuck are they talking? Like, I used to be sitting there like, how? What are they talking about? But it's true. It's true. It's fucking true, man. So the shadow work, you want to start going through those shadow works. Face those demons, man. Slay those fucking demons. Alcoholism, drugism, sex addiction, outdated belief systems. Whatever that addiction is and that codependency is and that toxic behavior is, okay, God wants you to release that. So that as you're releasing those things, you're not opening yourself to receive new, the right information, okay, to help guide you through this awakening. But they can't give you this information when you're still operating in outdated belief systems, when you're still letting your ego operate, make decisions for you. Your ego versus your intuition. Your ego is like, yeah, man, that'd be a good look. Or, yeah, man, if I get with this person, this person got more money than this person, but I really love this person, but I want that money because that money would be a good look for me. That's your ego guiding you on that's the devil guiding you. You want to start leading with a loving heart space. Loving heart space. You have to lead with a loving heart, pure loving heart space. Not to say that we're all pure. We're here on earth to learn these mistakes, learn these lessons, and ascend and apply them to our life so that our children don't have to live those generational curses. Okay, there's reward in doing this, guys. I promise you, I'm not lying to you. So they want you to clear, cancel, and delete whatever doesn't serve you. It could be a person, a place, a thing. A lot of us don't realize that we were brought into this world by karmic parents. We gave birth to karmic children. We have karmic aunts, friends, childhood friends, whether it's a job, but we're so, oh my God, if I leave this job, the fear. You got to be able to trust in the divine wholeheartedly. The divine is not going to tell you to release something without the means of bringing in something new for you. You have to believe that. That's one of the most, and I was so scared, with my job. I was so fucking scared because I was like, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? I got credit cards, I got car notes, I got things I got to pay. But I said, God called me. I answered that call. I really answered the call. And I had to stop letting the fear and my ego control what my heart and intuition was telling me. That job was no longer serving me. All it did was give me anxiety, stress. And that's not how we're supposed to be living here on earth. Okay? God wants us to have a fruitful life without us having to do so much. Let me tell you something. We are spiritual beings having a human experience here on earth. We've been here many lifetimes before in different meat suits. Okay? The reason why we keep coming back is because there's lessons that we need to learn, or we have karmic lessons that we have to repeat until we learn these lessons. So we come back in different forms. Okay? Until we learn these lessons. Okay? We signed up for this. Before we incarnated back here on earth, we signed these contracts, with the divine. And there's at a certain point in time in your life, you're supposed to be awakened. Some of us accept that call. Some of us refuse the call, not realizing that you signed this contract to be awakened at this time. There's a mission you have to do. There's a purpose here for you on earth. And this is the time you're supposed to awaken, and you're fighting and resisting it. You can't, and a lot of us don't realize, how would we know that? How would we know that? We don't. So we resist the unknown because we've been conditioned and conformed to outdated belief systems, traditions, different things that were instilled in us from childhood, that was instilled in us from our parents. And it's been so long that we forget that we are spiritual beings. We are the magic. We have magic in us, but we have to release these triggers, these negative, toxic ways, so that the light can start shining out and we could start manifesting in a more loving heart space. Because if we manifest, so let's say you're trying to manifest something, right? But you're constantly around drama, chaos, conflict, confusion, toxic people. You're constantly doing toxic shit. behaving in toxic ways. The universe doesn't know our English language. The universe responds to our vibration, our frequency. So if we're operating in toxicity, karmic, devilish ways, that's what we're going to manifest into our life. When your mind is clear, the way is clear. When your mind is clear from all that illusions, confusions, narrow-minded, thinking we know everything, things that have been instilled on us since childhood, you know, once we release that, it's easier for us to manifest in a more loving heart space, and for the divine to actually really bring in the good that we're actually really trying to bring in. Because I could say, I'm going to manifest winning the lottery, right? But I'm around people that have negative behavior, negative, toxic ways, people that lower my vibration. If my vibrations are being lowered because of these karmic or toxic negative things that are around me or that I haven't healed within me, then that's what I'm asking the universe to bring to me. And that's what we don't want to do. So then we're going to be sitting here playing the lotto every fucking time and not hitting. That's just an example, guys. Okay? So that's one of the ways of doing the healing, the shadow work, and then actually doing it from like a true heart space, not doing it with the expectation that, you know, well, I did this, so God said he's going to do that. No, God don't owe you nothing. God don't even owe you the breath that you're about to take. What you need to do is be a little bit more grateful to God and your ancestors and show them more gratitude. Okay, because they don't owe you nothing. Okay, they've been trying to warn you and guide you, but you refuse to listen to the signs and synchronicities that they've been putting in front of us for all these years. A lot of us don't realize these signs and synchronicities because we're so conditioned and we're so used to hearing the outside noise and frequencies from radios, all these electronics, doing drugs that chemically imbalance us, creating soul ties by having sex with every, random people. You're creating negative stuff. Those are called attachments, negative attachments. When you have that kind of stuff around you, it's hard for you to actually really see what's happening from a higher perspective. Anyway, so the way you transform that is through the healing, shadow work. Meditation is very important to your awakening. Cleansing your chakras. Calling back your power from these people that you create these soul ties from. Cutting those cords. Releasing those karmic cycles. And being real with it. Like, not just because we're not together, I'm going to hit you up next month just to get some head. No. That's not how you do this. You have to really clear, cancel, and delete. Detoxify yourself, mind, body, and soul. Your mind, body, and soul has to be in alignment for your soul's assignment, for you to get on that path. Okay? So yeah, those are some of the things that you could do. Okay, guys? I just wanted to, make a little quick video about this for you guys, okay? I'm going to end it there, okay, guys? Love and light. Bye.